Hey guys, it's Nathan Haddad with my dad Rolando from GetSelfDefense.com. Today we're going to give you 3 different techniques to escape a bear hug. Somebody grabbing you, whether it be from the front or from behind. But before we get into those videos, we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the fundamental truths with bear hugs. So
here's the thing. So of course we need to learn techniques for different things, and especially if my arms are trapped or if they have underhooks, the technique might change a little bit. But the problem becomes this, that a lot of times people are so fixated on technique that they either forget the objective. So what's the objective? The objective might be completely different. It might be for me to try to run away, or it might be for me to really continue this fight. So that's important. The other thing is, if I get really hung up on a specific technique for a specific attack, I'll hesitate. So what we have to understand, that a fight is always really transitional. And the main thing that I have to understand when somebody's locking arms around me is going to be base and position, right? So those 2 things, in the course of those things occurring, it changes from one thing to the other. So we have to understand what a fight is, what our objective is, and not lose sight of. Sometimes technique is not as important as the concept of keeping my base and, again, accomplishing my objective.
yeah, and I think that's why drilling and going live is so important too, because if you've ever done a jiu-jitsu class or a wrestling class, you understand that. You have somebody start with a rear body lock. It's not a super hard thing to step in front and lift your hips and take them down. So the person defending that has to have the sensitivity. What is he doing? How's he stepping? What are his hips doing? That's where I find my techniques. But again, it's understanding the concept of having my base, and having been there before, drilling it is super important.
Yeah, I don't let him impose what he wants to do on me. Now, I don't have to have specifically a perfect counter for exactly the technique that he's doing, but again, my hips are going to be lower than his. My base is going to be solid. As I'm moving, I might try to start delivering some blows to make him, instead of action, reaction, right? So I have to interrupt what he's doing by what I'm doing. That's the dynamics of a fight. And again, oftentimes when somebody grabs on a bear hug, the technique might be, okay, drop my base and then maybe throw an elbow and do this. But in reality, who grabs you like that and just stays there? What winds up happening is, if he grabs you from behind, what are you going to do, Nathan? Do what you're going to do. This is what's going to happen, right? So if I'm late, I'm going to have to fight from there. But it is something that occurs, it occurs organically. And he's going to grab me differently than he's going to grab me. I don't know what he knows, but what I have to understand, again, if I just stand here and try to do this, like, he's not going to let me do this. I have to micromanage my movement. I'm constantly adjusting to what he's doing in relation to where he is. I'm going to try to set up good strikes to get out of that situation. But even if I do that correctly, so what happens if he grabs me here, right? And I start working, boom, and I strike him and he opens his hands, right? What do I do now? Well, it depends. Do I need to turn into him and continue to fight? Or maybe could it be something where I kick and run away? So I have to understand what my objective is, and that's going to tell me what the proper thing to do is.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a look at these 3 different techniques. Hopefully you guys get something out of it.
All right, let's talk about what's commonly referred to in the self-defense world as bear hugs, but what really should just be considered body locks. Right? And the thing to understand is that these things normally don't happen in a vacuum. I should have some situational awareness of what's going on, and I should have a plan if someone's closing distance aggressively, of not just allowing him to come in here and giving him a freebie, right? So now this is a pretty bad situation to be in, especially if he knows what he's doing. Because if he has those hands locked and he's got good wrestling, it's tough to defend. Now, what'll happen though a lot of times is these body locks occur off of like a pummeling situation where maybe he kind of gets the jump on me and I feel him taking I feel this, yeah. As soon as I feel him getting this, I want to make sure now my strategy changes. If I try to just sit here with my hips, he's broken my posture, I'm trying to do this, I'm on the ground. So what I need to do immediately is I'm going to kick my hips back, and I'm using whatever connection he has with his head and face. I use that as a lever. So again, he comes in here, and I'm gonna just kick back. Now at the same time, I'm gonna take my hands and post on his hips so he can't gather my hips. So I'm just posting. One hand, in this case, because of how he's angled, this hand's really not useful. So look, I'm posting here, but I create this post, and I have solid base. My hips are low, and I can move really well. He can pull me, push me, and I've got tremendous balance. If I feel that his hands are still locked, it's important for me to, I want to break this grip. I don't want these hands locked up. So now what I'm going to do, once my base is solid, I'm going to make an S grip underneath over his elbows, and then I'm going to do like a tricep push down. I'm going to just squeeze together, yeah, and I should get that result. I can go back to framing on the hips. I can come up to just a regular frame, and I can start driving some strikes, exit, or I might have to continue with the pummel to then try to get a body lock myself, try to get his back, etc., etc. But again, the main principle is as soon as I feel him entering, I don't want to let him establish position, because if he I'm gone. I'm not going to defend this. But we're pummeling. Yeah, as soon as he does, I'm going to kick my butt and my hips back here, frame on his hips, break his grip, and then I start working from there. And that really is how we're going to address that bear hug. All right, let's continue talking about bear hugs or body locks. Again, those two things, in my opinion, are kind of interchangeable. For whatever reason, the person grabs me from behind. Either maybe we were pummeling and he took those double unders and he's taking my back. Again, I can't be here. I need to make sure that my base is good, because all he's got to do right now is just lift me up. It's nothing for this to happen, and then bye-bye. So to keep this from happening, I want to get my hips lower than his, and I want to make sure my base is solid. That's the first problem. The immediate threat is me getting lifted and dumped, and I want to take that possibility off the table. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to kind of drop down in a solid base. Now let go for a second, Nathan. This is what I mean. I don't mean going into a deep squat. I'm going into more of like an RDL position, if you will, where I'm kicking my hips back, right? So this, where my base is really, really solid and my hips are low. So again, he grabs and I get my base. Now, if you've wrestled or done other things, there's a ton of different ways where I can start separating. I can take different holds. I want to go for a more simplistic approach to this. So from here, if I see his head on the outside, if he's not a really disciplined person, I'm going to just take this elbow. Remember our elbows that we work? And I'm going to just throw an elbow straight back. So I'm going to just forcefully drive an elbow, get him to react. I can throw an elbow this way, get him to react. I can stomp a foot, get him to react. And all these things that I'm doing is to get him to react. To do what? I want this to loosen up, and I want his mind on something else besides this control. So now, once I've gotten his attention, I'm going to just start turning into him. Look, this is a perfect opportunity to regain my pummel position. I want to get this underhook, and from this pummel position, I can then go and try to frame, etc., etc. But again, he grabs from behind, I get my base, and I'm looking for striking opportunities. Even if his head was up here kind of high, I can headbutt straight back. I can drive this here, I can drive this here. I can step to the side and strike the groin, elbow. There's a bunch of things. I have to look for targets and take advantage of those targets. Stomp, orient myself to the threat. Now we're back to more neutral, and then work from there. Guys, let's continue with kind of body locks and bear hugs from a self-defense perspective. So again, he grabs me now, and instead of, and again, people will do this, especially untrained people, it poses an issue where he's giving me underhooks, right? So depending on what he's doing with his hips, I might use this to my advantage, but let's say that he's kind of gathering my hips, he's breaking my posture, and he's trapped my arms. So it's the same thing that I did when he has underhooks. I need to get my base. I need to get my posture back. So again, I'm going to use my hands, post it on his hips, and I'm going to kick back and try to open here, right? So just like this, to now I'm in this neutral, a little bit more of a neutral position where he's not controlling my hips, and it's not so easy for him to take me to the ground right now. From here, guys, it's whatever dealer's choice, right? So if I have enough of an opening, what I'm probably gonna do is get one arm out and start to create a frame here, and I'm just gonna can opener out. Creating, again, look at this angle. We love this angle. From this angle, ton of options. This being a real simple one. Another simple one is me just snapping him to the ground. Again, if his nose is over his toes, I can literally just, with this, just drive him here or spin him here. The easiest thing, drive a knee right in here, drive an elbow right in here, disengaging.
Guys, if you like that technique and you want more just like it, we have tons of free content at getselfdefense.com. We'll send it all through email. Hope to see you guys there.